Hi and Assalamualaikum to our expected lecturer, Dr. Siti Dalila. We are from class M1BA 2735B and today we are pleased to present our research proposal entitled The Impact of Remote Working, Flexible Working Hours and Share Workload on Employees' Productivity Among Lecturers in Malaysia. This research aims to examine how these three modern workplace practices influence the productivity of lecturers in higher education institutions across Malaysia. As work environment continue to evolve due to technological advancement and changing work arrangement, it is important to understand how this practice affect lecturers' performance and overall productivity. Throughout this presentation, we will explain our research background, methodology, proposed data analysis, and the expected contribution of this study. Before we begin our presentation, I would like to introduce our team members. My name is Muhammad Dina Shah bin Azlan, followed by Nur Akila binti Johari, Nur Farahanani binti Zulkifli, Nur Shazwani binti Zulkarnaim, Sofina Alia binti Muhammad Saad, and Sharifah Mashita binti Syed Zulkafli. Throughout this research project, every member contribute to different sections of the proposal, from the literature review and research methodology to data collections and presentation preparations. Our collaboration allows us to complete this proposal successfully while ensuring that each member play an active role in the research process. Now, I would like to invite our first presenter to begin with the background and problem statement of our study.
Hello, my name is Nur Farhanani and now I will talk about background of the study. Malaysian higher education has changed because of technology and post-pandemic work practices. Lecturers are no longer only expected to teach physically, but they also need to manage research, administration, online teaching and other academic responsibilities. Because of these changes, remote working, flexible working hours and shared workload have become important work practices. Flexible working hours may help lecturers balance work and personal life, while shared workload helps divide teaching, research, and service duties more fairly. Therefore, these work practices may influence lecturers' productivity in Malaysia. Next is problem statement. Lecturers in Malaysia are facing increasing responsibilities. They need to handle teaching, research, administrative work, and student interaction at the same time. Because of this, their workload becomes heavier and may lead to role conflict, stress, burnout, and poor work-life balance. Although remote work, flexible working hours, and shared workload are introduced to improve efficiency and flexibility, their actual impact on lecturer productivity is still unclear. Therefore, this study aims to examine how these three factors influence employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia.
Next, I will present the research question for this study. Our study is guided by two research questions that focus on the relationship between flexible work arrangement and employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia. The first research question is, what is the relationship between remote working and employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia? This question is important because remote working has become increasingly common, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Although it offers greater flexibility, its impact on lecturer productivity is still uncertain. Some studies suggest that remote working improves productivity, while others argue that it creates communication barriers and distraction. Therefore, this study aims to identify the actual relationship in the Malaysian higher education context. The second research question is, what is the relationship between flexible working hours and employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia? Flexible working hours allow lecturers to manage their teaching, research, and administrative responsibilities more effectively. Through this question, we want to examine whether having greater control over working hours help lecturers become more productivity. The third research question is, what is the relationship between shared workload and employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia? Shared workload refers to the fair distribution of tasks among lecturers. An equal workload may be distressed and prevent from work overload, allowing lecturers to focus more on teaching and research. Therefore, this study examines whether shared workload contribute to higher employee productivity. Overall, these three research questions guide the direction of this study and will be answered through data collected from the lecturers in Malaysia. Moving on to the research objective. The main objective of this study is to examine the impact of remote working, flexible working hours, and shared workload on employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia. To achieve this main objective, three specific objectives have been developed. The first objective is to determine the relationship between remote working and employee productivity. This objective helps us to understand whether working remotely has a positive or negative effect on lecturers' work performance. The second objective is to examine the relationship between flexible working hours and employee productivity. This objective focuses on whether flexible scheduling allows lecturers to manage their responsibility more efficiently and improve their overall productivity. The third objective is to analyze the relationship between shared workload and employee productivity. These objectives aim to determine whether a fair distribution of workload can reduce work pressure and enhance lecturer productivity. In conclusion, these objectives are directly linked to research questions and provide the foundation for testing the hypothesis and analyzing the data in the study. That concludes my presentation on the research question and research objective. I will now pass the presentation to the next presenter who will explain the research methodology. Thank you.
Next, I will explain the methods of analysis used in this study. This study adopts a quantitative data analysis approach because the information collected from the questionnaire consists of numerical data. This data will be analyzed using appropriate statistical technique to ensure the research objective can be achieved. The collected data will be processed and analyzed using the Statistical Package for the Social Science, or SPSS. SPSS is widely used in social science research because it enables researchers to organize, process, and analyze data accurately and efficiently. In this study, 4 statistical methods will be employed: reliability analysis, descriptive statistics, Pearson correlation analysis, and multiple regression analysis. These methods are selected because they are appropriate for analyzing quantitative data and examining the relationship between the study variables. Overall, this analytical method will help answer the research objective and test the proposed hypothesis. A more detailed explanation of each statistical analysis will be presented later in the data analysis section.
Next, I will present the summary of the literature review based on prominent scholars. Previous studies have consistently shown that different work arrangements play an important role in improving employee productivity, particularly among lecturers in higher education institutions. First, Safri et al. 2024 found that remote working has a positive influence on employee motivation and productivity. Their study explained that remote working provides greater flexibility, allowing employees to organize their tasks more efficiently while maintaining a better work-life balance. As a result, employees are able to perform their responsibility more effectively and achieve better work outcomes. Next, Hashim and Hassan 2022 reported that flexible work arrangement improve academic performance among Malaysian lecturers. The researchers found that flexible working hours allow lecturers to manage their teaching, research, and administrative responsibility more effectively. This flexibility enables them to allocate their time according to their priorities, which contribute to the higher productivity and better job performance. In addition, Lazarus et al. 2032 highlighted the importance of fair workload distribution. Their study showed that when workload is distributed equally among academic staff, lecturers experience lower level of stress and higher job satisfaction. This creates a healthier working environment and enables lecturers to remain productive while maintaining the quality of their work. Lastly, Maliana et al. 2025 found that work-life balance is influenced by both workload and social support. Their findings indicate that excessive workload may negatively affect lecturer well-being, whereas supportive working conditions help them achieve a healthier balance between work and personal life. This balance is important because it contributes to better productivity and overall work performance. Overall, This previous study consistently suggests that remote working, flexible work arrangement, balanced workload, and work-life balance have positive influence on lecturer productivity. Therefore, this finding provides strong support for the development of our proposed research framework and hypothesis.
Next, I will explain the research design adopted in this study. This study adopts a quantitative research approach because it involves collecting numerical data through questionnaire. The collected data will then be analyzed using statistical technique to examine the relationship between remote working, flexible working hours, shared workload, and employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia. The purpose of this study is descriptive as it aims to describe and explain the relationship between the independent variable and employee productivity. This allows the researcher to gain a better understanding of how this workplace practice influence lecturer productivity. In terms of the type of investigation, this study uses a correlational design. A correlational study is appropriate because it examines the relationship among the variables without manipulating or controlling them. The researcher only observed and analyzed the existing relationship. Regarding researcher interference, this study involved minimal interference. The researcher only distribute the questionnaire and collect response without influencing the participant behavior or working environment. The study is conducted in a non-contrived setting, meaning that the data are collected in the lecturer natural working environment. This enables the respondent to provide answers based on their actual experience and working condition. The units of analysis in this study is individual lecturer from higher education institution in Malaysia. Each lecturer provides responses based on their own perception and experience regarding the study variable. Finally, this study adopts a cross-sectional time horizon where data are collected only once during the study period. This design is suitable because it allows the researcher to examine the relationship among the variables at a specific point in time efficiently.
Thank you, Sharifah. For my part, I will explain the sampling technique used in our research. In this study, we use purpose sampling, which is a non-probability sampling technique. According to Saunders, Lewis and Thornhill 2023, purpose sampling refers to selecting respondents who possess specific characteristics that are relevant to the research objective. Rather than choosing respondents randomly, we intentionally select individuals who can provide meaningful and accurate information based on their experience. The reason we choose purpose sampling is because our study focused specifically on lecturers in Malaysia. Not every working individual has experience with remote working, flexible working hours, shared workloads, and employees' productivity. Therefore, lecturers are the most appropriate respondents because these working arrangements are directly related to their daily responsibilities. Our respondents include lecturers from both public and private higher education institutions in Malaysia. However, not all lecturers are automatically selected. They must meet several predetermined criteria. First, they must currently be working as lecturers. Second, they should be actively involved in teaching, research, and administrative responsibilities. And finally, they should have experience with the work arrangement that we are studying, such as remote working, flexible working hours, and shared workload. These criteria ensure that respondents are capable of providing reliable and relevant information. Next, for data collection, the questionnaire will be prepared using Google Form and distributed through various online platforms, including emails, WhatsApps, LinkedIn, ResearchGate, and academic networking groups. So, this platform allows us to reach lecturers from different universities across Malaysia in a faster and more efficient way. Before answering the questionnaire, respondents will also be asked to confirm that they meet the eligibility requirements. This actually helps us ensure that only qualified respondents participate in the study. We believe purpose sampling is more suitable than convenience sampling because our study requires respondents with specific knowledge and work experience rather than simple selecting those who are easiest to reach. By using purpose sampling, we can obtain data that are more relevant, reliable, and aligned with our research objective. To conclude, purpose sampling enables us to collect quality data from lecturers who have direct experience with the variable being studied. Therefore, it supports our objective of examining the relationship between remote working, flexible working hours, shared workload, and employees' productivity among lecturers in Malaysia. Thank you.
Now I will talk about the sampling size. This study focuses on lecturers employed in higher education institutions in Malaysia. The target respondents include academic staff from universities, university colleagues, and other higher education institutions. The researchers aim to collect approximately 200 responses from lecturers. This number is considered suitable because previous research suggests that 150 to 200 respondents are enough to statistical analysis such as correlation and multiple regression. A sufficient sample size is important because it can improve the accuracy, reliability, and generalizability of the findings. Therefore, 200 respondents are suitable for this study.
Next, I will explain the data collection process for this proposed study. In this research, primary data will be collected using a structured questionnaire. The questionnaire will be designed to gather information related to independent variables of remote working, flexible working hours, and shared workload, as well as the dependent variable which is employee productivity. The questionnaire will be distributed online using Google Forms to lecturers from public and private higher education institutions throughout Malaysia. An online survey is selected because it is practical and cost-effective method that allow researchers to reach respondents from different institutions within a limited period of time. In addition, the questionnaire will be self-administered, meaning that respondents will complete it independently based on their own experience and perceptions. This approach helps ensure that the response reflect the lecturer's actual opinion regarding their current working arrangement and productivity. Furthermore, using Google Forms provides greater convenience for respondents as they can complete the question anytime and anywhere using their electronic device. It also enables the researcher to collect response more efficiently and organize the data for analysis. Once all responses have been collected, the data will be analyzed statistically to examine the relationship between remote working, flexible working hours, shared workload, and employee productivity.
Moving on to data analysis. Once all survey responses have been collected through Google Forms, the data will be analyzed using SPSS, the statistical package for the social sciences. We will be applying four main techniques for this study. First, reliability analysis. Before running the actual analysis, we need to confirm that every item in our questionnaire is consistent. So, we are using Cronbach's alpha to test internal consistency for each construct, which is remote working, flexible working hours, shared workload, and employee productivity. An alpha value of 0.7 or above is considered acceptable, while above 0.8 indicates good reliability. Second, descriptive analysis. This gives us a clear picture of our respondents' demographic profile, which is gender, age, qualification, type of institution, and years of experience, that presented in frequency and percentage. We will also calculate the mean and standard deviation for each variable to understand the general response pattern. Third, correlation analysis. We are using Pearson correlation to examine the strength and direction of the relationship between each independent variable and employee productivity. This directly tests hypothesis 1, 2, and 3. The R value range from -1 to +1, and a p-value below 0.05 indicates the relationship is statistically significant. And finally, multiple regression analysis to determine how much each independent variable contributes to employee productivity, and which one is the strongest predictor. Our model is EP equals beta 0 plus beta 1 RW plus beta 2 FWH plus beta 3 SW plus E. Together, these four techniques allow us to confirm our data is reliable, understand the patterns within it, and ultimately determine how remote working, flexible working hours, and shared workload influence lecturer productivity in Malaysia. To conclude, this study investigates the impact of remote working, flexible working hours, and shared workload on employee productivity among lecturers in Malaysia. Guided by three hypotheses, all expected to show positive relationships with productivity. This research is significant because it fills a gap in the literature since most past studies focus on the corporate sector rather than education. It also helps institutions design better work policies and helps lecturers manage their time and workload more effectively. The study does have some limitations, namely time constraints, response bias, and a focus on only 3 variables. For future research, we recommend expanding the variables and using mixed methods such as combining surveys with interviews. That concludes our presentation. Thank you.